I think it was his hand. Okay, so let me pull up stud flop draw here. And we will go over this real quick. Another fun spot. Oh, you guys are getting some free entertainment today. Let's change this one up over to... There we go. This is Stud Flop Draw Alpha. It is technically still not out yet, all of the versions, but you can definitely go get the free version if you want. Just tell them Learn Mix Games sent you. You should be able to get access, but this is, we don't want the stud. Actually, we do want the Stud Equity Explorer here, so let's look at this one, right? So, we're going to go with the dead cards first, but basically at this point, I do expect this 4 to be raising very, very, very often. So let's put the 8 of clubs dead, 10 of clubs dead, and then the 4 is basically got 100%. 8 of clubs, 10 of clubs. Our hand is the Jack of Spades, and then hand 2 over here is the 4 of Diamonds. So we're going to run this sim. Okay, again, this is deuces 7 Razz. If I need to clean up the screen a little bit, I will. Give me a second. Now, our specific hand is the 3-7 of clubs. One of the nice things about the range filter is we can just... I should be able to just put it in there, but... whatever, I'll just do this. Hold on. That's the save button, right? So we're at the 3-7. He usually lets me type in the range, but it looks like he's been playing around with it a little bit, so we're just going to save this one. And then the 4 has 100%, and I think this is just fine. I don't really think anything's changing at this point. I think every single street our opponent was incentivized. Now, one thing I do want you to guys do, take notice of this, and a lot of people don't understand this at this point, right? If our opponent here has 100% of the range with a 4, we have 55% equity against that. Like, this is deuce to 7 kind of in a nutshell. Again, I'm going to just move this screen up just a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better here. But again, this is something that a lot of people just don't realistically understand too much. Hold on one second. I'm going to fix this for you guys. Okay, so we have 55% equity against this right here. Okay, now let's go through the whole process of the hand, right? He raises, we call. We catch a queen, he catches the jack. So we're going to update. Lock it next street. Oh, very nice. Nice. All right. They did some updating here. So the jack spades catches the queen, 4 catches the jack of clubs. I don't think we're necessarily a favorite anymore, but we're still going to be relatively up there against 100%. Basically, we're flipping right now. We jumped to 40. We went from 55 to 48. Again, not necessarily too over the top right now, so we call. He catches a jack, and we catch a king. So we're going to lock it and go to the next one. We're going to do the king of hearts now, and then he catches the jack of hearts. And now we are technically the favorite at this point. Again, this is not something that a lot of people don't understand against a 100% range with our exact hand. Again, we have 3-7. And our opponent still here, I think, is incentivized to bet 100% of his range. So theoretically here, you can give your opponent close to 100% of the range. At some point, you probably want to start knocking off some of the hands, but I don't think this is the point where you want to do it yet. Let's see if that changes on the next street. Oh, I didn't want to do that, sorry. Here, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, he bets, we call. Now we catch a queen, and he catches a queen. So, again, like, it's changing a little bit, but it's not changing as much as we think. So we catch the queen of hearts, and he catches the queen of diamonds. Again, because he still has 100% of his range, and we don't. It does drop us down to 40%, but still, I mean, given this price point over here, we still have plenty of equity to continue, given the fact that he has, that we have 40%. So, plan here is probably if we catch, like, the king, we probably just fold. If we have a king by the hand, because right now we obviously, if we look at our hand, we have king, queen, jack, 3-7. If we improve to queen, jack something, I think we want to call. Let's see how it actually affects the river here. So the river on this one here is, we call the river's a 9, he bets. So how is that 9 doing against, again, what we think is a theoretical, like, close to 100% range, right? All right, guys, this is where I last left you off. But we're going to finish this as part of a different recording. I actually had to text the person who runs the site to fix a programming error in it. But as you can see over here, we still think our opponent has 100%, and we weren't able to look to see how that changes if we catch the 9 on the river. But as we can also see over here, price we're getting immediately is, what is it? Roughly, it's over 5-1 at this point. Plus, given the street equity going into the river over here, we can see, like, the next street, how we're technically doing. Let's see this next street. There we can see, like, next street over here. Depending on where we catch, we can kind of like make a decision. So again, my initial plan to play this one was to basically say if we caught a card that improves us to Queen Jack, I think we're calling. The only question is like, if we think our opponent's betting here 100%, should we call the river? And that's kind of where I dug into this one here, so we can go back. And now we can actually enter the last draw. So if we go over here, we actually catch the 9 of diamonds on the last card. And we'll see how that does against 100% range. I, again, think that my opponent here is probably firing just a little bit too much in general. I just don't see people really like find a lot of checks here, and I think good players would probably find an ability to check down at some point. But at the same time too, like, it's just really, I mean, like, it's so tempting to fire this board off, like staring at Jack, Queen, King, Queen in the face. But once we get to 6th Street, a lot of times we're gonna be calling this river. So at some point, I think my opponent should give up, because like at this point, I'm probably showing down a king. But again, we can kind of look directly at the equities to see how this changes. So if we go back over here, we catch the 9 on the river, and now we can just run the sim to see how we're doing against the range. And we can see that we're getting 40%. So when our opponent fires over here, if we think that he's firing 100%, we have plenty more equity. And this is something that I talk about all the time with respect to like understanding your like pre-flop ranges. Because right now here, say we have 40% equity, right, in this pot, and our opponent's just firing off 100%. You know, let's take into account, like, we're not playing you know, a 300-600 Razz game where I'm calling on this board at this point. My opponent thinks to themselves like, all right, maybe I can get him to fold this river. Maybe he just thinks that like I'm just calling so often at this point that he's not going to be able to bluff. But let's just assume, like, in game here, that my initial plan was to basically call if I made a queen and fold if I made a king. So there's a couple things that I want to talk about. First off, and the first part is here is let's see here. We had 40%. I would have assumed that we had less than that. It seems like it seems high to me, but again, if this is just 100% range, like, this actually makes a little bit of sense to me again. So, you know, if you're folding here, you have 40% of this pot. Just think about that for a second, because the bet's going to go in here, our bet's going to go in here, and now the pot's going to be approximately like just under, or sorry, just over $100. But if you have 40% of that pot, you're folding $40 here in a 6-12 game. That this says 3-6, but the those were the blinds. We're playing 6 and 12, so you're basically folding close to over 3 big bets in this situation. There is no mistake that you will find pre-flop in a limit game that's that high. Not even close to that. You might find some catastrophic ones that are maybe like over, you know, 1.5. Maybe you fold like aces or something like that. It's the equivalent of like folding aces pre-flop basically in like limit hold'em or something like that. I'm not even sure if it's that high, to be completely honest. But basically that's kind of where I'm going with the equivalency here of like learning when to not make these like big mistakes. Now, one thing we can do is we can go over here, and I want to get this right because he did change something yesterday. So let's do this. Let's go to, hold on, we have the ability to go back. 6th Street. Can we change it on 6th Street? 7th Street. Get that card off. How do we get that card off? Give me a second. All right, we got it here. We're back on 6th Street, as we can see right here, and now we can enter 7th Street. And what we're going to do is say we catch another king, right? Or maybe even an ace. Let's think about what a better card here for us to catch is. Actually, like a worse card. So it's probably an ace, because that means he doesn't necessarily have it. We don't have a 4 in our hand either. Maybe a 4 is actually a worse hand for us to catch here. So let's do 4 hearts, because then it's less likely my opponent pairs. What happened? Oh, I didn't pair. That's why. No, let's not do that. Sorry. Let's go back. Go 6th. Fork it. Enter it. 3-7. He doesn't have a 3-7 shown. Let's say a king for our pair, because it looks like, actually, let's just say ace. Let's just. I don't want to do that. No, let's do that. Hold on. Enter 7th. Let's go back. All right. We'll just do this for now, and then we'll edit it in a second. Okay, we're gonna fork it again. 7th Street. We're gonna put our put an ace in right here and run the sim. So even there on this river now, again, if my opponent is betting, excuse me, 100%, we can see that we still have 18.11%. So again, taking this in a vacuum, again, this is a vacuum because my opponent here should be checking probably some of his hands. I mean, like, if he's just betting off, we can just call down here profitably all day long, no questions asked. But I think you do see this a fair bit where people are just going to bet their boards and try to get you to fold something. But even if we catch this ace on this river here, we don't improve and we have the king, queen, jack, we still have 18%. So again, pot's roughly at this point, we can see it here, but basically it's going to be just over 100, so around $100. And again, if we fold this river here to, if we fold to the river bet here, we're folding $18, and we only need, given the price, we only need right around $12 or 12% to continue. So again, we're going to be, if we fold this river here, even though we didn't improve, if we caught it like, you know, the king or the ace basically, we would still be folding basically a one big blind. So as opposed to, you know, before where we would have had like $36, so big bets, we would be folding a big blind in equity here by folding this river if our opponent's not balanced at all and just betting it. So again, something to just like kind of take away in general, because like these are just super important spots to kind of like realize what's going on, how your opponent like develops his range. If his range is too wide, you know, always pay attention to the blockers of what's going on in this situation too. I can't stress this enough. But we do call here, and on the river we can see that my opponent did open probably, I mean, like, not something that he shouldn't have. I still think he can probably relatively steal like close to 100% here. You know, like, if your opponents are pretty sticky, I would not do it because your opponent should be sticky. Again, we talk about the structure of the game. This is basically a 1-6 ante structure. It's one of the bigger ante structures on the site. The 816 $3 I think is the biggest I've seen so far, but you should be defending them pretty light in these situations here. So depending on what your cards are in this spot, like, he probably can still raise like 100% of the ranges he had here. 4-4-8, they block that one. Even like queen 4-8 here is totally fine. But like, you know, say if he's got like 4 queen in the hole, that's probably something that, you know, if you're gonna find a portion of your range to fold, that's probably something to do it, especially if someone like me is gonna get pretty sticky. But again, you want to take notes and really kind of follow to see what your opponents are doing, because if you get in these spots later on, I mean, you definitely don't want to be making those errors on the end, because again, you know, if we improve to a queen jack, we have almost 40%, and if we fold in that spot, I mean, folding 3 big bets is just, I mean, it's catastrophic for sure. Now, obviously, if we usually call 6th Street, we kind of have a plan for, like, I would say how we're going forward with this hand. But if we get to the river and we make a king, and that's kind of the real surprise for me, because I didn't think we were going to have as much equity as we had in that spot. I thought we were going to be close to probably break even, but it does look like that we have plenty of equity to call this river here if our opponent is just firing too much. Questions or comments, please leave those below. Again, you can always go to Stud Flop Draw and you can tell them Learn Mix Games sent you. You can also go to Death Donkey's lab. I think it's lab.deathdonkey.com. You use code LMG. That helps me out. You can always also go to Omaha Mate, since we were talking about Omaha Mate earlier. Use code LMG for 20% off as well. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. Again, questions or comments, leave them below. And you can always send any hand history that you like analyzed also to learnmixgames@gmail.com, and I will get that to you. But until then, good luck at the table. Play well. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.